Hey guys, it's Whitney, and today we're going to be talking about the Norvina palette again. But today we're going to be doing one look with the Subculture palette and one look with the Prism palette. And this is the second look right here that we used with the Prism palette. So if you guys want to see how I got this look and a very cool look with the Norvina and Subculture palette, then it's about to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2. Alright guys, so first we're going to play with the Norvina palette and the Subculture palette. And I'm going to show you guys both of these side on top of each other, just like that. This is what they look like. So the first shades we are going to dip into, we're going to go into the Subculture palette and pick up the shade Dawn, which is this brown shade right here. And I'm going to take a Morphe E27 brush. It's a huge brush. And I'm going to very carefully dab into that. If you own Subculture, you know to be very careful with it. And I'm going to put it as my first transition shade directly right here. And I'm just going to bring that down. Bring that down. I already have my base on. I have my MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. I'm going to dip in it a little bit more. And do this right here. And I have no idea why I went ahead and put my face makeup on today, because we are doing 2 looks, so it's going to take a very long minute. What I'm doing now is I dipped into the shade Incense from the Norvina palette with a Morphe M441. And what I'm doing is placing that directly underneath the shade Dawn from the Subculture palette. So all I'm doing is running this guy right here. Just going to deepen it up just a little bit farther down. I mean, just a hair farther down. Really deepen it up. I'm going to dip in again, knock my brush off, wing it out. I like this shade Incense. It's a cooler tone, kind of brown, but I really dig it because out of the 4 ABH palettes I have, this is probably my favorite transition shade. As soon as we have the shade Incense down, what I'm going to do directly underneath that, in my crease, kind of blow it out, is I'm going to take Volatile from the Norvina palette and the gray shade Mercury from the Subculture palette. And I'm going to go back and forth, mix those 2 together, taking mine on a M443. I know they look dirty, but I rubbed them off with my, my Ulta color switching thing. Guys, there is a gnat in my room. I had my windows open in here, and there's one singular gnat that I cannot seem to get rid of. So I'm placing this here, and I most definitely knocked my brush off. And what I do where I have very hooded eyes is I kind of take the brush and point it up a little bit, tilt my head back, and get mine directly underneath here once I have the majority of the shade down. So that's what I'm doing on these 2 eyes. Like such. Okay. Once we have the 2 gray shades down and blown out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this flat shader brush, a Morphe M124, and I'm going to dip it into the shade Rose Gold from the Norvina palette. So, just like such. And these are very, very glittery. Like, I am just dreading doing my whole entire face makeup again and everything for a second look. Okay, so I'm taking my MAC Fix Plus, spraying that guy, and I'm going to pack him directly all over the lids on both eyes. And you definitely need to wet your brush. You're still going to get a shoot ton of fallout with this, but it's going to be even less if you just at least wet your brush with some Fix Plus. Usually I would always tell you guys to use a cheaper one if you need to, but this is one that I would say you definitely need the Fix Plus with to make the glycerin in the Fix Plus, because I've looked through my setting sprays and my cheaper ones and everything, and I could not find another one in my collection. I'm not saying there's not any out there, but my collection that do not have, or that have glycerin in it, like the MAC Fix Plus, because that's really, you know, what I need. And I'm making sure whenever I get it up to the lash line to not get the shimmer in the lash line. So I'm doing this. Normally, if I do my eyes as soon as I do, whenever I'm not filming, I do my eyes first always. And what I do is I take Fix Plus and spray my face with my eyes closed. So that it'll kind of help glue down some of this right here. And then I'm going to take my ring finger, put that in the same shade, and just pat that all over my eye. Just to give it just a little bit more. And then we're going to go in on the other eye and do the exact same thing. Now that I have rose gold placed down, what I'm going to do is dip back into the Subculture palette, go into the shade All Star, and I'm taking a Morphe 506, and I'm just going to barely dip the tip into that shade because we all know what it is. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming you have the Subculture palette, and if you don't expect a whole lot from it. And all I'm doing is placing it right here. Just in the outer V of my eye, because I don't want to bring it all around. Normally, okay, I'm going to switch to a better packing brush. So, I'm going to pick up a Morphe 321. Just dip the tip in there again. Knock that off. And just pack it directly on the edge, like such. The outer V of both eyes, and get that done. Now that we're done placing that, and I just drew 2 little lines on the side of my eyes today because I want this to be a much more simple look. I'm going to go back in and dip a Morphe 507. It's even smaller than the 506 I'll try to use the first time. And dip into Mercury in the Subculture and Volatile in the Norvina. And I'm just going to take 1 dip of each. And I'm going to run that directly into my lash line to help blend it out some more. Because I hate getting shimmer in my lash line, you guys. I hate whenever I try to do a more precise look and the shimmers and stuff get mixed up. You guys are probably going to hear my cat meowing to come in here, and I apologize about that ahead of time. So I'm just throwing that directly into my crease. And by my cat, I mean one of my 5 cats, because I am a psycho cat lady. I have one 10-year-old son. He'll be 11 next month, and I have 5 cats and a boyfriend. Whom I love a lot. Okay. So now that we're done with that, I'm going to go off camera, do my liner, lashes, mascara, all that, and we'll jump back on after I finish everything else to do the lower lash line. Alright guys, so for our lower lash line, I'm going to take the shade Incense, and I'm going to take that on a Morphe E17, and I'm going to dip my brush in there directly on the tip, knock that off, and I'm going to place it directly down over here. And I didn't do a wing liner today. Actually, I didn't put any eyeliner on except for in the inner part of my eye, because I'm going to have to take all this makeup off again and start over as soon as I'm done with this look. And that just would have took way too long. I'm going to switch brushes to a more fluffy brush, if you will. I'm taking a BH Cosmetics, this small little crease brush, number 7. I'm just going to dip back into Incense and just run it directly against my lower lash line like such. This side of my face is bigger than this side of my face. I got a really bad infection on my cheek and eye, and because I bought a makeup palette off of eBay. But anyway, about eBay, I bought a really cheap makeup palette off of eBay, and what happened was I got stuff on my face from shadow that fell on it. I got a really bad viral infection in my eye. Like if you guys want a story time, I can tell you what palette, everything that happened, but it was shitty. Next, I'm going to take this small little E36 detail brush, dip into the shade Volatile, and mix it with, I think, Mercury from the Subculture palette. Knock that off, and I'm going to put it directly above where I placed the Incense shade. I don't know why I was looking down at Subculture. So I'm going to run it directly right here and connect it out here. The shade Mercury is a lot more pigmented than Volatile. So whenever I go back in, if I have to dip in a second time, I'll dip into Volatile instead of Mercury, because we all know about. And I love the Subculture palette, you guys. Like it, I think it's awesome. As long as you know how to work with it, And then on a flat definer brush, this is a Morphe 432, I'm going to take the shade All Star from the Subculture palette, that directly on there, knock that excess off, because you know you got to knock that excess off, girl. And I'm going to push that directly up against my bottom lashes. And I'm not going to, yeah I am, I'm going to connect it right here. And I'm going to bring it about, probably between 1/2 and 2/3 of the way in on my eye. I'm just going to run that directly underneath the lashes. For underneath the brow bone, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Norvina palette with this Morphe 213 Small Detail brush. I'm going to pick up the shade Base, which definitely has shimmer in it. I'm going to knock that off, and I'm going to run it directly underneath the brow bone on both eyes. Just like such. I would personally use shimmer if it were me making this look. The shade Dreamer right above Base. But for a more wearable look, you want to use Base. And then for the inner corners, I'm going to take that exact same brush and dip into the shade Dreamer. And I'm definitely going to knock that off, because yesterday when we used it, it was very, very extremely pigmented. So I'm going to take that and run it directly into the inner corner right here. And if I was really going to wear this look, I would put some MAC Fix Plus on this before I put it on. But since I'm about to go ahead and take all of my makeup off to restart the second look, I'm going to leave it on there. Just going to go ahead and keep packing that one on. Alright you guys, and that's the look that we did today using the Subculture palette and the Norvina palette together. Give you guys a close-up of what the eye looks like. That's the eye closed and open. And I didn't do liner today, like I said. Our second look we're about to jump into. Side note, look how dirty my Norvina palette already is, you guys. Like, look at this. Mine is so dirty already. But we're about to jump in and do the Norvina palette and the Prism palette in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alrighty guys, so we are here doing round 2, and we're using the Prism palette with the Norvina palette. Let me hold these up side by side so you guys can get an idea. And I definitely wanted to do this because, like, I really enjoyed using the Subculture, and I was going to do the Modern Renaissance, but really, that's not going to be hard to figure out a look. I came up with like 3 really good looks mixing Norvina and ABH because they seem like they're kind of bad sister, good sister in a way. Okay, so the first shade I'm going to dip into Lure right here, and I'm picking up a Morphe E27. I'm going to start, I think, another little series in between my other series because I'm uploading every day right now since I don't work. But is the best Morphe brushes because I literally have probably 50 different Morphe brushes. So I know what I like and what I don't like. So I'm just putting that up here in the crease. And I'm putting it directly up against my brow bone. Now this color will be a little bit more colorful. And also I over contoured my nose so bad. Like it is so contoured right now. And I have on my MAC paint pot just because I really wanted to blur out my lids. And also I feel like I really like my Urban Decay eyeshadow potion. And I feel like the paint pot really catches and grabs the eyeshadow. As soon as I have the shade blurred down, I'm going to switch over to the Norvina palette. And I'm going to go into the shade Love. And these Base, Soul, and Love all are like a shimmer matte. They have a glitter in them. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking a Morphe 573 brush. It looks dirty, but I cleaned it with my little shadow switcher. So I'm taking that. I'm going to knock it off because I've heard that if you want to use a shade like this that has little tiny specks of stuff, if you knock your brush off really good, that you can knock most of the shimmer off. And I'm putting that right here. And I'm really pushing it up high. And this shade is very, I don't want to say non-pigmented, but it doesn't show up well. The shades Soul, Wild Child, Love, and Celestial are what I was the most excited about right when I first saw that they're coming out with this palette. I literally ordered mine and paid for 2-day express shipping, everything, because I could not, Like, I already knew what look I was going to try to do and everything, right? So, I just don't think that they're darker. One, they're way darker on the eye than they are in the pan. Okay, once I have the shade Love on, I'm going to go back into the Prism palette, and I'm dipping into the dark orange shade Saturn. And I'm taking mine on a Morphe M433. I'm dipping that in, knocking that off, and I'm going to put that one directly into my socket crease. And I say socket crease because I know that my crease is higher up. This is going to be a very colorful look, guys. And I'm not blowing this one out. I'm keeping it only in the socket. So I'm just working this in. I like the shape of this brush, but it's really hard to... I'm going to have to get a different brush real quick. Okay, here's another Morphe M433, but the brushes are different, probably because I haven't cleaned it yet. So I'm just going in with that. And I'm really building up this orange shade, you guys. And I'm pulling this color up only far enough so when my eyes are open, you can just see the outlines. Most of the drama is going to be when my eye is closed. So I'm building this guy up. And I'm only rounding it exactly around the eye. That's all we're doing. Okay, once I have Saturn down, I'm dipping back in with the M573. Going right back into the Love shade, knocking that off, and I'm going to run it back into the edges of Saturn because I really want this pink. The pink and orange are going to be the standouts of the show. So I really need it to show through, and it's probably going to cover up the first shade blur that we used. That's okay because I want this to be colorful AF. I want it to look like we are going to the beach, but our makeup is on fire. And whenever it blends together, it just makes the prettiest color. The two corners, like it just, I don't know. It makes almost like a tangerine kind of orange, which I am looking for. So I'm perfectly fine with covering up that color blur. If we're getting this pink shade Love on there. So I'm just blending, blending, blending. And if I over blend somewhere on one eye, like this one I brought over, I'm just going to bring this over even more. Wing this out, because I love this Love shade. Like such. And then I'm going to have to go back into the orange shade, but this time I'm going to take a little fluffier brush. So I picked up a Morphe E17. I'm going to dip back into Saturn with the tip of that. And I'm going to go ahead and run it back through the crease just to bring the orange. And all this is going to do just to make it a little bit to where we can still see a lot of the pink. But the orange, you know, you're not going to be able to miss the orange. Because like I said, the pink and the orange are our colors today. This is going to be a very bright look. So we're just going to do that. Once I have the color Saturn on, I'm going to dip into the shade Base with my little M213. Or do I want to do? Yeah, I want to do Base. Because I want all the... I don't want my brow bone to be the center of attention and shimmer. You know what I'm saying? Now that we have our top lid done, what I'm going to do is I'm picking up a Morphe M124, a flat packing brush. And I'm going to go into the shade Celestial. And I'm going to get that on my brush. I'm going to hit him with some Fix Plus. And I'm going to put that 2/3 on my lid. Let's do 2/3 on the lid. Because I'm not darkening anything up today on this look. I want this one to be very bright and fun. And this color, like I said, Soul Love, Wild Child, and Celestial were the shades I was the most excited for. And really the only one that's even giving me what I expected it to give me is the shade Celestial. I tried using Wild Child, which is the pink shimmer right here, with glitter glue, with everything. I just accidentally dipped into rose gold. Hold on. So I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger, run it, just dip it into Celestial, and put that down on the lid just as a base, making sure not to get it into the crease, just like such. I'm going to go ahead and put it down on this side as well. And I do not set my eye primer, so this really helps me with my stuff sticking to my lid. So if you're having problems with certain colors sticking to your lid, I would work on learning how to do it without setting your base. So now I'm just going to re-dip my brush back in, and I'm going to clean up the edges. I cleaned off my brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the exact same brush, and we're going to dip into Wild Child. And this shade is the hardest for me to work with. I am definitely going to spray that with my Fix Plus, and this is going to go on the last inner third of our eye. So whatever's blank still on our eye is where this guy is going to go. And you really have to pack it on, and it's really hard to make it stay. Like right now, it looks beautiful, but it just takes a minute. This one, like I said, this right here was the hardest shade for me to work with. And now I have to go back in and respray my brush. Now that we're done with the upper lash line, I'm going to go off camera, finish everything else my eyes, and I'll be back in just a second to finish the lower lash line. Alright guys, so I've got everything else on my face. You don't have to do a lipstick this vibrant, but I wanted to do it because it's super late at night and I'm not going to wear it anywhere. So I'm going to dip into the Incense shade with a BH Cosmetics number 7 brush. It's from the Marble Rose collection or something like that. And the reason I want to do Incense is because if I was to go straight in with Flirt, it would look funny. So what I'm going to do is I have nowhere to connect that to, so I'm just running it on the lower lash line. So we are just going to put that right down here, like such. And my eyes are so creasy where I have to do my face before my eyes. I'm picking up this Morphe 432. It's like a flat definer brush, and I'm going to dip into the shade Saturn, and I'm going to push that directly up against my lower lash line. And I'm going to connect it to the orange shade Saturn that we already have kind of out here like this. So I want it all to connect. Now that I have that down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the shade Wild Child with my small little brush, and we're going to put that on the outer corners. Very gently put that, on the inner corner of our eye. So it's going to be very gently, and that's going to be our highlighting shade to help tie it all in. Because I don't want to really use a different color other than this. I want it all to tie together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring mine underneath the lash line just like that. Takes a minute to pack this on. Definitely takes a minute. And I just want to go ahead and put out there that I only wash my hair every 3 days, right? So, for me, I have got glitter all over every part of my body, in my hair, in my eyes, all over my hands. It's everywhere. And I shower, but it's still all over my hands. Anytime I walk in here to my little makeup room where I film at, there is glitter all over the place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off that flat definer brush. And I'm going to pack it on there like that. And I'm going to spray it with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus just to get it to stick better, to where I stick it on the lower lash line right here. There we go. Just like that. Dip back in there. We're just going to pack him in like such. Alright, you guys, and that's the end of the video. So all I did is I put this little gold color from Japanese. It's like an orangey color, metallic copper. Oh, it's from LA Girl. It's the LA Girl Glide Liner in the shade Metallic Copper in my waterline. And that's the last of our looks using Norvina in the Prism palette. And if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.